People always think wedding gigs are classy, easy money. Everyone's smiling, everyone's in love. What could go wrong? Well, after 700 weddings, I can tell you, quite a lot. Let's talk about why wedding gigs look amazing from the outside, but sometimes feel like a slow-motion disaster in a suit. The truth about weddings. Everyone thinks wedding gigs are the top shelf of local live music. Beautiful venues, big money, free meals, and people actually happy to be there. It sounds like a musician's fairy tale, and for a while, I believed it. I've done around 700 weddings over my career and even picked up 10 state awards in a row for Western Australia's best wedding entertainer. Right, so yeah, you'd think I'd be the guy telling you how amazing they are, but here's the twist. Wedding gigs are like luxury cruises. They look classy from a distance, but once you're on board, someone's always seasick and no one's tipping. It's shown me the dark side of what happens when people drink too much around fairy lights. They're more like a roller coaster with a dress code. The ceremony. The ceremony is your first test. A performance so quiet you could sneeze yourself out of a job. You're not there to entertain, you're there to exist gently. Which is fine, I get it, it's not your show. There are 4 songs that make up the typical Australian ceremony set list. The processional, when everyone's pretending not to cry. 2 signing songs, because love needs paperwork. And 1 upbeat tune for the recessional, when the crowd finally exhales and decides it's time for champagne. Now this part is fine, until the bride emails you a playlist of songs she absolutely loves, which usually translates to songs you'd never perform in public that require a 12-piece orchestra. I used to learn every custom request. Hours of work for 4 minutes of use. Just to see a bloody nervous bride's friend hit record and fill my right ear, followed by a lifetime of never playing it again. Eventually I got smart. I now send out a ceremony catalogue, a neat list of songs I already know work beautifully. Or I say, choose anything and I can play it through Spotify. Everyone wins. They get their moment. I don't lose 3 evenings of my life learning Ed Sheeran deep cuts. Early reception. Then comes the early reception, over dinner. A time where you officially become human background noise. It's all canapes, chatters and polite nods. You'll play your smoothest set ever. And the only person who notices will be a photographer using your head as framing for a table shot. But that's okay. You're paid to blend in. You're the sonic wallpaper holding the mood together while people compliment the floral arrangements. You're there to set a tone. It's a relaxed gig. Nobody's yelling. No one's spitting beer on your pedal board. And you get to enjoy being the quiet professional for a few hours, right? I kind of like this part. They give you a break from being on. You can focus on the tone, the groove, keeping things classy. The bride and groom are usually grateful. The coordinator smiles at you. Everyone looks like they've been airbrushed. Problem is, it tricks you into thinking that the night will stay that calm. Before I go any further, if you're getting anything from these videos, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It's the digital equivalent of clapping politely after the ceremony. Nobody ever does it, but it's still the nice thing to do. The DJ hours, where politeness goes to die, because once dinner's over and the dance floor opens, you're not a musician anymore. You're a lightning rod for drunk opinions and instantly transform from artist to button pusher. And instantly become public enemy number 1. I was one of the first soloists in my area to bundle live music and DJing into one package, right? Brilliant business move. My income quadrupled overnight, but so did my exposure to human stupidity. When you're performing live, you're an artist. People are respectful. They compliment you. They say lovely music. When you switch to DJ mode, you instantly become staff. It's wild. The same guy who politely clapped your acoustic set will be screaming, "Play something good," 20 minutes later. Like he's the event director. Requests start flying in like seagulls at a fish and chip shop. "Play horses. Play Mr. Brightside. Actually, can I plug in my phone?" No, you can't. And here's the thing. It's not everyone. Some weddings are amazing. Some crowds are pure gold, They dance, they smile, they're grateful. But when it goes bad, it goes real bad. I've had drinks placed on my controller, hands reaching over to adjust volume knobs, people leaning in to shout song names while their breath smells like regret. So now I use mini control bollards, right? Real ones. It's the musical equivalent of a shark cage. Keeps them back a meter and it's the best investment I ever made. because the minute people hit that magical combination of alcohol, nostalgia, and mob confidence, they forget you're a human. You become part of the venue like the bloody dessert table, only louder and less respected. The psychology of drunk confidence. Here's what happens. People feel untouchable at weddings. They're surrounded by friends, they've had free drinks, and they're desperate to be part of the night's main event. If they like your song, you're their hero. If you don't play their request, you're the villain who ruined love itself. I've had people yell abuse, flick my lights, even try and take the mic. And every time you have to smile like you're a customer service desk operator in hell. Because you can't fight back, you can't argue, you can't tell the groomsman to take his opinions outside. You have to smile, nod, and pretend like you just didn't get told off by a bridesmaid with a half-empty mojito. You got to stay calm, professional, quietly count the dollars. There's a switch that flips when people are in groups, right? I used to be a cop. Crowd control was the worst because people get brave, right? They'd never talk to you like that one-on-one. When their mates are watching, they grow a backbone and lose a brain. I've had people scream in my face over song choices. I've been shoved, sworn at, even had drinks thrown in my gear, and yet that rarely happens at a pub gig. Because at pubs, people might be drunk, but they don't have wedding confidence. You know, at weddings, people feel like kings and queens for the night. And kings don't make polite requests, they issue decrees. And that's the real reason weddings can suck, not the music, the people. The soloist's tightrope. Now, bands have a different dynamic. They've got stage presence, volume, and safety in numbers. As a soloist, you're a one-person operation. You're juggling class and chaos with a polite smile. The first half of the gig is pure calm. The second half, it's like DJing a bar fight in a tuxedo. You're the ceremony mood setter at 4 p.m. By 11 p.m, you're refereeing groomsmen who think Sweet Caroline is a contact sport. Your entire vibe shifts from being a refined performer to emergency entertainment services. And you can't lose your cool. You can't show attitude. You're still the wedding professional, which ironically makes you the least respected person in the room by the end of the night. The money equation. Of course, the money's fantastic. Wedding gigs can easily pay triple, quadruple what you made at a pub, even 5-6 times, depending on how long the booking is. And they should. You're not just playing music, you're managing moods. You're a sound engineer, counsellor, a lighting tech, an MC, and a punching bag all rolled into one. You know, you make sure grandpa doesn't trip on your speaker cable while the groomsmen try and start a mosh pit. You get paid to keep the illusion of perfection alive while chaos simmers under the surface. It's stressful, but you learn patience. You learn professionalism. You learn how to stay calm while someone in heels screams, "Play Beyonce!" like it's a cry for help. And at the end of the night, you pack down, sweaty and exhausted, but richer. It's a good feeling. Later because of the money, but right now because it's bloody over. When a wedding gig actually goes right. When it goes right, it's magic. The ceremony flows perfectly, the weather behaves, the guests are all kind, and the couple actually listens to your song suggestions instead of bloody sending you a 12-track Ed Sheeran tribute list. You know, you play your sets, people genuinely listen, and by the time the dance floor opens, they're singing every word without you having to beg them to, you know. The bride gives you a thumbs up mid-song and the groom thanks you personally 3 times. The venue staff actually help you load out without vanishing like bloody ninjas like they do. Those nights remind you why you started doing things in the first place, right? The money's great, but the real payoff is when you pack down thinking, yeah, that was worth it. No drama, no abuse, no chaos, just a room full of happy humans. And you got right in the middle of it, making the soundtrack to someone's best night ever. But the reality check. At the end of the day, weddings are amazing money and they make you a better performer. You do get to meet some seriously lovely people as well as the gremlins. They teach you restraint, patience, and how to stay professional while silently fantasizing about throat punching a drunk groomsman. They look glamorous, but they can turn on a dime. So yeah, wedding gigs are great if you enjoy testing your emotional stability in a tuxedo. And honestly, I still take them. But these days I charge like a wounded bull. 1, because I'm experienced. 2, because I'm too old for this shit. And 3, I want to weed out the young crowds that inevitably turn it into a circus.